Okay, I'm going to make a little shop aid to hold these, to drill the holes in the ends. What I want to do is I want to load it up against the fence on this side, on the side of it, and then on the bottom. So I got a piece of scrap aluminum here, and what I'm going to go do is cut in there with a 3/16 end mill, and so I can go down like that. Got a slot for it like that, and then I'll have to make it an undercut like that to get rid of the radius, cutter radius in the corners. So let's get a 3/6. I'm going to use a 3/16 end mill. So I'll get a 3/16 end mill here. Cut her out. I don't care what it is, if it's a 4 foot or a 2 foot, it ain't going to be taking much material. It's not going to be taking a lot of material, so I don't care if it's a 4 footer. Normally I'd use a 2 or a 3 foot in aluminum. But we're not hogging, so if we were hogging a lot of material, it's best to use a 3 or a 2 flute, because the secondary relief on the flutes is enough so that it won't gum up and load up. The relief isn't big enough for aluminum, for a softer material. Softer material, fewer flutes you want to use. So I'm just going to come down over here and start the spindle up, and I'm going to come down and touch. Then I'm going to make the knee up 100 thou. So I'll have 100 thou legs there to load up against. Make sure I got it wide enough too. So I got enough room to just slide it back and forth. Okay, so now that'll fit in there. And I should be able to push it up against the wall. And you'll notice now, see, it hits down in the bottom corner, so that's why we want to put that cut across the bottom. And that'll take care of that radius. So you want to know the legs down here, basically. Should do it. So now, I'll show you what we got. So, let's see if I can run that screen here. This unzoom you here. Alright, so you can see what we got here, and the part will go in there and no longer has a radius down here, so we got rid of it, so we can come all the way down, and then we can push it up against the side over there. I could, if I had a spring plunger, I could put a spring plunger drill and put a spring plunger in there, but I'm not going to do that. I can just push it up against like that. The first we'll have to leave it up like that and dial it in, just because we want that hole in the very center of the block. So I'll swing this in and swing that in. And then the depth, we'll be able to control the depth by going down to that. So this should work. We'll go back over here on the vise and we'll try to set her up and see what we can do. Face is still aching this morning from my adventures of getting the molar pulled. Hasn't gone away. Better than it was, though. Okay, so I want to go over here about like that. I don't need these parallels in there. Actually, I want a parallel look like that. Would have been nice if I would have got a little thicker material. Darn it. Wasn't thinking there, I guess. So, definitely going to need to put parallel on that. Raise it up. That's about right. And so then we'll have to have a parallel like that. A little shorter, a little taller. Get my other parallel like that. I can figure out where I put it. Here it is. Hiding from me. That'll grip most of it. This might be a little tricky. I know I can use a scale, push it up against there. Just use a scale. Get this close to the plant. There. So I can, you can't see it. I'll just slide it up and down, make sure I got it up against that fence. Up against that fence and up against the stop. I didn't finish tightening that stop. Okay. Just want to make sure that it's up against that. It's got a scale, just pushing it up against it. Now I'll swing that in with an indicator. I believe they were 256 threads that I'm putting in there. indicator. Okay, where's my indicator at? Huh. I don't remember the last time I used it. The one I want, anyway. With the dovetail swivel on it. Well, I'm not seeing it right now. I'm gonna have to cut away here and find it. Because that's the indicator I want to use. Huh. You don't suppose I put it away. Stranger things have happened. Nope. So, it's laying where I used it the last time. You know, I never had this trouble when I was working because you never left your tools laying around, or otherwise they disappear on a permanent basis. You know, and now that I'm working at home in my own shop, I tend to leave wherever I've used it. I tend to use it, just leave it lay and not put it away. Anyway, I'm going to cut away and then I'll find it. Okay, it was over on the NC machine. Well, I found it. Left it over there last time we were working on it. So, we'll get this needle so we're sort of in center and not wobbling. Okay, and we'll just kind of eyeball it to the center of that block of the cross member or whatever we want to call it. It's got to go that way. All right, let's see where we're at. We'll do X first. So we'll bring it down, catch the block. Swing it back and forth. Get the low spot. Zero it. Okay, so there's zero there. Swing around over here. And then rock her back and forth and see the low spot is at. We are 4.5 thou. So it's got to go 4.5 thou that way. Or not 4.5, 2.25. Actually 2.25 to the right, a minus right there. Rock it back and forth, make sure we're at zero. Swing around over here, bring it down, rock it back and forth. Zero, perfect. 0x. Now we should be able to come around. And blocks are square. Should have been the same. Oh, you dummy. I could have, let's go back over here. I could have just moved the table to 0. What was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. Messed up my reading here. Alright, let's just set this back at 0, because we know that's dialed in. I'm not thinking this morning straight, I guess. Okay, 0 that. We know it's dialed in this way. So all we need to do, bring this up, swing it around to the front. The table has to come out until we get to this 0 here. So bring this out to 0. Right there, 0. Should be 0 back here. And we got matter of fact. Yep. Good enough. Good enough. Now we'll 0 everything out. We're sitting right on center. Take this out. Get the small drill chuck. Put this away in my toolbox so that I don't have to hunt for it next time. Small drill chuck should have worked for that. Oh, that's over. That's over on the NC setup yet. Well, I'll use the medium sized. Switch this to a 1/2 inch collet. I tell you, changing collets back and forth on this machine, I got so tired of, getting a wrench and then trying to spin it. So what I did was I went ahead and and this is hard, and so it took a little bit. I knurled that so that I can just spin that with my finger. Oh boy, that aids in changing the collets. You can change a collet pretty quick that way. Just a tip. Just a tip for you. And it worked out real well for me. I'm glad I did it. I did the NC one the same way after I did this one. And now I got a tool changer over there, a quick change, so I don't really need it. But all right, so I'll hold this up against there and push that down against the bottom. That way I can set my depth. I'm hoping, and put the drill all the way up in here every time. That way I can go down the same spot. And I believe those were 256 that I wanted to go. Let me get one of the side plates here. I'm believing it was 256 button heads that I was looking at putting in there. 256. I got 256 flush head. I thought I had some button heads here also. I could put flush heads in there also, though. I'd have to just go around and countersink all of the side plate holes. And I might just do that. I think that would look better than the button head even. But yeah, it's 256 threads that I want to put in there. So, now that we figured that out, I don't remember that one off the top of my head. That's a number 50. So right here's the number 50. How far is that? It's gonna go up in the chuck. I should just go get the little chuck. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go get the little chuck instead of this one. Even though it's set up over here. I can reset it up. I was set up for when I did the side plates. Really? Get it out of there. Still got the drill in it. Put this tool over back before I set that down somewhere and then go, well, what did I do with that? All right. Same call it, 1/2 inch. Call it. Take that away. I don't remember what drill this was. All right, we need a center drill. Center drill or a spot drill. I'm going to go with the center drill. Center drill, and then tap. 256 tap. Alright, 256 tap. Gotta get the little tap handle. I'll be ready in a minute. Here's a 256 in there. Put that in the tap handle, and what I do is I extend it out as far as I can up on top. That way I can put that drill chuck on it, so that for a guide. Tighten that up in there. We are just about ready to make some chips. And I was going to go, a certain depth, but even if I go halfway through and halfway through from each side, the hole going through it's not going to matter. But I will go probably just a couple hundred on each side. Well, if I go a couple hundred, let me just see what that will do. If I go a couple hundred, 1/4 inch, I'm going to go 300. I'm going to go 300 from this side and 300 from that side. Let's put these Allen wrenches away. And here we go. And do-do-do-do. And I'm going to put some gauge blocks in my, or a gauge block, probably my V block, huh? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I put my 1, 2, 3 block in my quill stop. Yeah, a couple inches. I'm gonna get 2-inch gauge block for it. Because if I put 2-inch block in here, I can get down with drill and the center drill. Otherwise, if I adjust it for the drill, I'm not going to get down to do the center drill. So I'm going to go get a 2-inch gauge block and I'll be back. Okay, I got a 2-inch gauge block so that I could put it in here. Came down, touched my drill on the top of the part, cranked up 300. So the drill will be going in 300 thou. Open it up and put the drill in here, and you'll see if I touch the top there, the gap between stop and the gauge block is 300 thou. So that'll give me my 300 thou depth that I want. So here we go. Put a little Molly B on the drill. There we go. Now put the tap on there. I'm going to put the Molly D on the tap. This is a spiral fluted tap, so it pulls the chip out of the hole, so it doesn't push the chip down to the bottom. It's not a gun. It's not a gun point or a point to push. It won't push the chips down, it'll pull the chips out. It's actually made for blind holes. If I could get the camera down here, I'd show you it's pulling the chip out of the hole just like a drill. I'll show you the tap when I get it done tapping the hole here. If I don't break it. Alright. So, as you can see, the chips are laying here from the tapping. And if you look, if it'll focus on this. Focus on that. Focus on that. Here we go. But you'll see it's a spiral fluted. And when you tap, it pulls the chip up and out of the hole. So anyway, give this a little blast. Set it up. I want to keep the same face to the back, so I'm just going to flip it end for end and drop it in there. Put my scale up here, push it up against the fence, snug it, put the center drill in. See now, if I didn't have gauge block in there, that's as close as I could get. So that's why I put the gauge block in there. So now I took the gauge block out, I get down there and center drill. Then I put the gauge block back in there. Now we're ready to drill to the depth that I want. That's the reason for the gauge block. Okay, ready to tap. Molly D up the tap. Open the drill chuck up. Bring her down. And tap that hole. There we go. 1 down and 9 to go. And so there's one that's done. And I'm not going to make you sit through doing all 10 of them. That's 20 holes that I have to drill and tap. So I am going to cut away and go ahead and do all of them. And then I will be back when we start putting holes in the bottom of these. There's one of these gets 1 hole in the bottom to attach to the lower rig. And then the motor, I think, attaches to the front of the lower rig. So once we get these done, then we'll figure out bearing hole sizes that I gotta go in. I've got the bearings here. Have the bearings. Oops. I got a whole bag of them. I got 100. Bought 100 of them that but here's the bearing. And I'll hold the scale up there just to kind of show you. Oop, don't want to drop it. But they're, must be around 250 in diameter or so. So anyway, I've got the bearings. I also didn't want to make a bunch of bevel gears. I have made them in the past. I made them for my V8s. Made them for something else too. Anyway, I made them a few times, and there's like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 setups. 3 setups for each bevel gear. So I ordered some. And they're just plastic. They don't need to be. They do not need to be metal. So I went ahead and ordered some plastic bevel gears. So, because there's 5 of those in each one, I believe. So there's 10 of those that I'll need too. So, but anyway, bevel gears and the bearings are here. I'm waiting for the glass test tubes. I don't know if it's the smaller one or the bigger one. They're supposed to be delivered today. So, out for delivery. So, should be getting that today. So we drop that in. Push it over against there, the fence. Snug it. Take the Joe block out. Joe block, gauge block. I've heard them called a couple things, different times. And center drill, and tap. So I'm going to cut away. I'll be back when I get them all tapped.